Welcome to our conversation today. I'm going to be interviewing Megan Michael, a dear friend of mine, a womb worker, a magic maker, and we're going to be talking today about authenticity and how authenticity leads us to living our life's work and to bringing our life's work out into the world in a way that is aligned with us. So, welcome, Megan.
Thanks so much, Salenta. This is so fun. I appreciate you having me on.
Yes, and this is a conversation that we have been having ongoing with the group of friends that we have who are all coming together. We're all at different stages of bringing our work into the world. We've all been doing it a long time, but our work has had different iterations. It's looked different. But
Right.
more than that, how we have brought it out into the world has looked different and been different. And so I think as we're shedding 2025, the year of the snake, which you are very connected to, that snake
Yes.
energy. So I'd
Yes.
love to talk about that. And then how we can authentically show up for ourselves, but also for our communities and the people that we serve to be in the light and be seen, but in an authentic way that still feels good for our internal processes and not hide ourselves. So,
Yeah. Or
what
try
do
and
you
do it the way the world's telling you should do
Yes, exactly. So let's talk about the snake energy for a moment.
it. That's the juice. You're getting right into it.
Yes.
So I have been on a healing journey and in the healing arts for 20 years about. And I began my journey back in 2006 of awakening and having energy gifts coming online. And I ended up just, I don't know, like being led and drawn into energy work, even though I was very religious at the time. And the religion I was a part of was kind of, I don't know, I don't think it would have accepted.
Restrictive?
Yeah, it was like, what, women laying hands on your head and healing? No, so I was a little bit of a rebel, but my inner voice and my was something was calling me, and there was these points in my life of having to choose myself over the messaging that was coming at me. And so my journey all along was like having to choose myself again and again and again and follow these breadcrumbs and just seeing where it led me. And so I ended up doing energy work and learning massage therapy, which I did for a while. And then I learned cranial sacral therapy and ended up being really passionate about women's work and doing womb healing. And that was holistic pelvic care for women. I took that training and some Mayan abdominal therapy through the Arvigo Institute. And all of these different trainings were great. But my point in bringing all that up is that it was like a practice over the years in honoring myself and listening to like following the energy, following like the passion that I was feeling inside. Even though
Mm.
back, 20 years ago, this was not as acceptable. You've been
Yes.
in this a long time. So, yeah, it was such a fascinating journey. And through it all, I've learned magic is real. And I've learned when I have not listened to my inner compass, I fell into depression. I was unhappy. Things didn't flow as easily. I felt like I was
Mm.
swimming upstream. And
Mm.
and so now, after all these years and having worked with hundreds of people and felt um, all kinds of energy systems and all different bodies and gotten to interact with all different types of people on the table and just in life, I feel like I've landed now doing a work that is doing it in a way. I've been doing the work for a while, but now I'm doing it in a way that is truly authentic because
Mm.
I've practiced enough and given myself permission to follow follow the energy, my heart, something that excites me without the burden of what it's supposed to look like according to this influencer or that,
Yes.
practitioner and the way they market or the way they do their work. Because what I found is what I do is only mine. Like I can get all the trainings in the world, but it's mine. It's coming through me and it's being channeled through me and it's my own magic. People don't come to me for the certificates I hold. They come to me because of me, because it's my magic that I have to offer.
Mm.
And and we live in such an achievement-based world. We all want our certificate to put on our wall, like this thing that's external
Yes.
of us that's like,
It's almost
"See,
as a,
I'm valid."
yeah, a validation, this external validation to be like, I'm allowed to do it now.
Yes, see, you can trust me. The man gave me the go ahead, like, come on in. And I've learned I do not need anybody else to tell me what my gifts are and how they are to be expressed other than like myself and my
Mm.
source. And so it's been a, a very fascinating journey.
Could we
Just,
say it's been a messy journey?
yeah,
And I don't mean just for
yeah.
you. I mean the
Yeah,
process of living authentically and bringing your gifts out authentically is a messy journey.
it is 100%. And it never looks the way you think it's supposed to at any given time. And you actually
Yes.
don't necessarily feel like you're doing it right until you have these moments where you look back. When you're in
Right.
it, it's like, I don't know, this just feels like this is what I'm supposed to do. And
Yes.
I guess I'm just going to trust and go with it. I don't know what it's going to look like next. And then you look back after so long of doing that and you're like, it's beautiful. It's a masterpiece. I've created art. I've created like a beautiful, my life is my art and I did it my way, and I'm
Yeah.
not a paint by numbers anymore. I don't know how else to put that, but
So one, we've had these conversations a lot, and you and I have known each other a number of years, and we've seen each other on our journey. And I know for me to be able to do this, I have to surrender. It's this huge practice of surrendering into the feelings, the promptings, the ideas, and the external feedback that I get to try and navigate this. How has that looked for you?
yeah, I agree. It has been all of that, giving myself permission. And also I have had to do my inner work the whole time.
Mm,
If
mm,
I want to live an authentic life and like provide something that is authentically coming through me, the work doesn't end for at any point. It's like I have to surrender and allow myself to transform and move forward because
mm,
otherwise there's plenty of times in my practice and in my art where I felt stuck. I didn't know which way to go. I would try to move left because the world said no, now it's trending to do it this way, and then I'd go right because now it's trendy to do it that way, and it always felt fake and it never seemed to go anywhere. But when I would tune all that out, go inward and assess, what am I supposed to do right now? Why isn't it flowing? Usually the answer is surrender. You're trying too hard. Let go and listen. And
mm,
then once you're quiet, you get a spark. I need to do a podcast. I need to have
mm.
a conversation with so and so. Or you get to that still point inside and someone calls you for an appointment or, things start moving again.
Yes, because I think a lot of times, I know you've said this with the work that you do. So you do sacred womb work. And for people who do not know about what that is, you basically do internal massage and pressure point massage for the womb, for the uterus, correct?
Uh,
The vaginal.
what I
How do
do,
you explain that?
yeah,
Because it's a
so
sensitive subject and maybe people don't know about it
yeah,
and even what it's for.
I am a womb worker and I help women rebirth themselves. That's really what it is. I take all the tools that I've gathered in my 20 years of practice and gather from all different modalities, and I've landed on that women is where it's at. I felt this before all these women were waking up, that we're rising and we're trying to break through our proverbial glass ceilings, and we're all doing it in our own way. And the work I do is I do cranial, sacral, and external massage around the belly and the pelvis and the sacrum, and then I do internal work for women. It's more of a holding space and witnessing and bringing out women back into their bodies, into place, into their womb space that we were taught to really check out of and disown because of the shame put on us through our culture, and also just through experiences a lot of us have had with trauma where we've dissociated from our bodies, and that leads to all different kinds of problems. But when you can hold space for a woman that's sacred and help her come back and bring her awareness back deeply into her body, and essentially just witness her and whatever's coming up and remind her how powerful she is, because the womb is the creative force. It's the seat of our power as humans, but especially women, that we
Mm,
haven't been accessing fully
mm.
because of the collective trauma and individual trauma.
Yes, I love this. I'm getting chills all over because this is bring power is such an interesting topic because people are afraid of power.
Mhm.
Because power has been wielded in ways that are domineering, that are manipulative, that are,
Mhm.
I'm going to take something from you for my benefit and leave you with nothing,
Mm.
that the true essence of power has been distorted. But
Mhm.
power is something that every single one of us has. The more we align ourselves to our truth, our authenticity, we tune into it. And it is really the full force of your life force energy flowing through you that you have
Mhm.
access to create in any given moment. That's
Right.
really what power is. It's that I have access to everything in me to make my whole system work for me, not just my internal system, my family system, my external system, all the systems start to come into harmony.
Mhm.
And I think shifting that viewpoint of what power is, and that power is not something that I'm putting over you. It's something that when I'm collaborating with you, you're
Mhm.
powerful and I'm powerful.
It used to
And
be this polarity exchange of, if you're a give and a taking, right? Like, and
yes,
a pyramid power structure top down, and that
yes.
isn't how it was ever meant to be when we're in balance.
Yes, instead it can be this flow between
Mhm.
where I am fully embodied, empowered. And yes, I do give that space to you, but then I can also take it back. And it is a flow,
Mhm.
everything is
Mhm.
this give and take. So what I'm hearing you say is you're putting a woman's body back into the flow of her power to be
Mhm.
able to first just be in our body, because I think that is, I mean, embodiment is so powerful in and of itself. Because I am a
Mhm.
spirit in a body. If I'm not connected to my vehicle or my tool is
Yeah.
either limp and flaccid, or
Mhm.
I don't have as much precision with it, or
Mhm.
so I'm just fumbling through life. But the more I can hone into that precision with my tool, which is my body, then I'm
Mhm.
intentional with life.
Yeah.
Don't you
Right.
feel?
Absolutely. And because of, traumas that the world has
Mm.
delivered to us and we've received and had in our lives, where there's blockages and where it's not flowing, and there's programming that has
Mm.
been embedded in our consciousness, um, is universal to every woman I've ever worked on.
And
There's
man, and man.
And men, and men. Absolutely. And, you
Yes,
know, they each have their own variety of it, but, like, there's, like, the good girl programming,
yes.
like being a good girl. There's all these different programs we're running in the background that we don't we don't know they're there fully, and then we're behaving in ways in our life that we don't understand why we're behaving it that way. And so the coolest part is when you start doing this work with a woman, we're breaking through that programming and reformatting her from the inside out so that she's fully in her body. The energy is flowing fully. She now all of a sudden feels more secure in the world because she's actually sitting in her body. She trusts herself more because she took her power back where it was taken from her from whatever
Mm-hmm.
experiences or programming she has. And so
Mm.
it's really a rebirthing process of helping women come back online so they can be at full force in the world. And we need that more than ever right now.
We
So,
do. So I've had experience with this work. I don't know if you know this, but what brought me online and my healing journey was actually healing and connecting to my sexuality and
mhm,
realizing I had shut that down when I was married as a protection mechanism. I was feeling unfulfilled. And so to not be so frustrated, I was just like, well, let's just shut that down and
mhm,
put all this creative energy into building a business. And we did that and it was very successful. But in essence, I couldn't just shut down this the sexual energy that went to my partner without shutting down all the other sexual energy too
yeah,
that went to everything else in my life. So when I divorced and I started awakening and coming back to myself, I realized that I was shut down in these
mhm,
areas. And so for me, my healing process was to open to that, to do a lot of healing work. And so there's two things I want to say. I think some people think, well, I've never had any sexual trauma, and so this isn't something I need help with. But in my learning and journey, because then I ended up, because I had such a huge transformation in that area, I went and actually also did female empowerment work, but in
mhm,
opening to their essence and their sexuality in that way. But it's not about firstly sexual energy, it's about our creative energy. I want to say that.
right,
It's
right,
about how we express ourselves. But you don't have to have had sexual trauma for there to be blockages. You could have been spanked as a child, meaning
mhm,
that then in your vaginal canal, like you have such tension that there is
mhm,
pain,
mhm,
during sexual experiences with your partner. There's
mhm,
numbness, but it could even be armoring from words. Maybe
mm.
you had harsh words. Maybe no one was even being harsh, but you just perceived it that way as a
Or
child,
even
as a
just
teenager.
religious trauma, like
Yes,
religious
yes,
beliefs will just totally. I wasn't even
yes,
religious growing
especially
up.
that.
I wasn't
Yeah.
even any religion. And when I started doing my own healing there, I could not believe how much Eve kept coming up
Mm.
in my story. That I was like, I think I had an experience as a kid where a boy on the playground was saying something along the lines of boys are better because God made us first and you second. And like things like that, that you're just like, I was defending myself as a little kid, for like, and when you really break that story down alone, it's actually like, whoa, that is a lot of
Right.
shame that I took on, and I didn't even go to church every week. So it's a collective. We
Yes.
experience it individually, but these egregores of belief that
Mhm.
overlay us oppress us as women collectively. And the most beautiful part, which I think you and I just discussed today with the session I had today, was that when one woman does this work, it ripples out and
Mm.
frees us all. And so that is like
Yes.
the most beautiful part to me. And I wanna say that out loud for all women to hear because
Mm.
women, we put ourselves last. We're
We
starting to
have in the
understand now. In
past.
the past, we have put ourselves last because we were programmed that we're here to care for everybody else and self-sacrifice. And in doing so in the past, it has that belief that spell that was cast upon us
It was a spell.
was binding us. And
Mm.
the freeing ourselves of that program and giving ourselves love and taking care of ourselves. Every time you do an act of love for yourself, you're freeing women everywhere. Every time you gain an inch in your healing along your journey, you're giving an inch to every one of us. And I cannot reiterate that enough, because every session I do, women are like, thank you so much. Like, thank you so much that you do this. And I'm like, thank you so much. And I mean it,
Mm,
because every single session I feel healed. And
mm.
I testify. I'd like to bear my testimony that women will heal the world.
That's so it
Cheers.
is.
So it is. Ding.
Yes, yes. This can be heavy. Even just talking about it, I can
I know. It's
feel
like,
heaviness. So let's just release that. If you're listening to this and you're feeling and you're like, oh, I feel all of this in my body, it's this tension. Let's just breathe for a second. Breathe it out of your chest, your shoulders. Feel,
thank
hmm,
you. Thank you for that.
yeah, because it is a heavy burden that we've been carrying collectively for
Hmm.
ourselves, for each other, and it's time to
Hmm.
release it, to
Yep. It's
choose.
time to free ourselves of that bondage. We are.
Definitely.
I
We
see
are.
it. I
Yeah.
mean, I've seen it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to like defeat the sun. Um,
I
my
want to talk about joy. Oh, wait, tell
joy.
me what you were saying.
No, no, that's okay. Joy. Go with it.
Well, because I think even remembering that it's as easy as coming back to joy, what makes you happy in the moment,
Yeah.
when we're not feeling authentic, when we're feeling shame, oppression, this
Mhm. Mhm.
flow that is blocked, it can be as easy as putting on a song we love and
Mhm.
moving our body and experiencing
Mhm.
joy, or sitting with a
Mhm.
friend and laughing, or
Mhm.
like yesterday, you and I
Mhm.
were together here and my nieces were at my house and they're rolling around on the ground and we're taking my tools, my
Selenite wand.
selenite wand, and they're cutting spells, the spells of seriousness, as my little 7-year-old niece is laughing her head off because she's being tickled with this little wand. It can be as easy as that.
Yeah. And in
Yeah.
fact, that is like the essence, right? Like, all these things women are trying to heal or are healing are just blocks to that, to the joy and essence of who we are to be able to shine through, you
Mm,
know?
mm.
Because once you have the energy flowing, as you know, doing energy work, once it's actually moving through your whole system, you're bright.
Yes.
Like, you look different. People are like, "Did you get work done?" No, I'm just kidding. You look better than any, cosmetic surgery ever could make you. Like, you glow
Yes.
because yeah.
Yes. In fact, one of our friends, we have a mutual friend who had a session with you today and has given us permission to mention that session. And she is a testament to this. You asked me today if she looked different.
Mhm.
And I said, actually, for the last 6 months, every time I see
Mhm.
her, which sometimes it's weeks or months between I see her,
Mhm.
she looks different because she is
Mhm.
doing the work. She's
Mhm.
unraveling these layers of
Mhm.
herself and bringing more joy forward.
And authenticity, right?
And
Like,
authenticity, yes, being herself more authentically, which is all those programs like the Good Girl program or the Don't Be Too Loud program or what are some
yeah.
of those programs? I want to hear what
Oh,
you.
you've got the sex kitten program where, you've got to always be attractive to men.
Mm,
It doesn't matter what you think or how you feel. Most priority is that you're wanted by a man and that you're attractive. And that
mm,
program is such a burden. And these programs, it's interesting because what they do is they like actually take your consciousness and split you. And then you're looking, a part of you is viewing yourself from the outside to always check to make sure you're okay. Do I look okay? Am I saying the right
Mm.
thing? So you're not even being you because you're constantly having to make sure you're okay and what you're saying is okay and you're not offending the good girl program. I don't want to make anyone mad. I want everyone has to like me or else I'll die.
One
There's
that
a handful of them that are universal.
Yes, one that I came up with this week with a client is that, which is a very feminine dominated one, is that I have to give and give and give to prove my worth. I'm not worthy of
Mhm.
love just being. I have to
Mhm.
give everything I have until I'm so depleted. I literally have nothing
Mhm.
left to give. I'm still giving out of an empty cup, but
Mhm.
then that doesn't feel authentic.
Mhm.
It feels like that's not real anymore.
Mhm.
So but when we have the program running, it doesn't stop. And so it's like literally we become so depleted, our bodies start breaking down. We start getting all these health issues, autoimmune
Mhm.
diseases, you know,
Mhm. That's
but
a
we don't
big
have to
one.
do that. It's a big one. And
Mhm.
energetically for her, and maybe all the others are the same too. The energy is always going out. It's like, what do you need? I'm always feeling into what you need and giving you that, but I'm so
Yeah.
disconnected from myself. So it's
Yeah.
turning the energy the other way around of first tuning into me.
Mhm.
Can I be good first? Can I be grounded? Can I be filled up? And then from this fullness, give to you.
Yeah, because what women don't realize is that by running these programs, they're betraying themselves. It's self-abandonment, it's self-betrayal because they're not honoring what they actually want. They're honoring the program that was installed. And so what happens over time is they become very insecure because if you don't trust yourself, you're going to be insecure. And then they're like, "Why am I insecure? I don't even know why I'm insecure. How did I get insecure?"
Mm,
Because they don't understand that like they've been living off programs instead of living from here. And a lot of
mm,
women are just learning what it feels like to just be here in your body, saying like you're saying what you mean to say. You're able to
mm,
say no when you don't want to do something because when you say yes
mm,
to things you actually your inner self is like I don't want that but I feel obligated so yes I'll do that thing for you and what happens is resentment starts building in the background and anger at them and at you.
mm.
And that
Mm,
is a burden that, lives in the subconscious and then it starts coming out sideways because it needs to
mhm,
be expressed. And so this is where women are like behaving in ways that they catch themselves behaving and doing things that they are not in alignment because it's saying like you're bitter, but you're not admitting it. And so now you're going to get sarcastic, you're going to get passive aggressive, you're going to get all of these kinds of toxic
mhm.
behaviors. And that is
Yes.
the toxic feminine, which is the part of you that you've ignored, you know?
Let's say that again. The toxic feminine is the part that you've ignored,
Yeah.
that you've betrayed,
Mhm.
and that you didn't stand up for. And so
Mhm.
she's retaliating
Yeah.
and coming out in dark
100%.
ways. Yeah.
Exactly.
She's she's like, you burnt me at the stake. You sold me out. And
Mhm.
so it's rage. It is literally rage.
Every woman on my table has unexpressed rage. And I'm seeing it in my friends. I'm seeing it the last however many years. And our politics and other things have
Mm,
kind of mirrored that and triggered that for us so that we can see it's there and
mhm.
acknowledge it because that'll make you sick if you don't get that out. And we're directing it at men but
Yes.
it's actually the root. If you actually want to clear the rage, you could get mad at anything external all day long, and your abusers, of course, you have the right to be mad. But it always comes back to that piece inside of the inner self saying, you didn't listen when I was trying to tell you. You didn't hear me when I needed this. I just need you to see me. It's self witnessing. It's,
Mm.
self love, self care. And that's where all of a sudden you're no longer a victim.
Take back your power. because you realize you not that you created all these negative things that might have happened to you, but that in self-abandoning, maybe it perpetuated the cycle within
Mhm.
ourselves.
Right. Right, because
Yeah,
we learn the same lessons again and again until we find that root, right?
exactly.
We'll see patterns emerge of our inner selves, these versions of us that were like, "Hey,
Mm,
remember me? You're not gonna hear me? Well, now all of a sudden you're doing this thing that you swore you'd never do, and you're acting out, kind of." Like,
mhm.
that can look different for every woman, but it's fascinating, and, we get caught as women in victim mode.
Yes.
We feel vulnerable. We want to blame perpetrators, and it doesn't perpetrating is not okay, but there's no perpetrators if there's no victims. And so when a woman has actually had, um I can speak for myself and I can testify like with some of the client cases I've seen, um you're stuck in victim mode until you deal with it, until you actually look inward and address it and what happened, and the root of it will always be, um, and where did I abandon myself? You know, a person does something to you, it's not your fault. Things happen in life. That's unfortunately how it is. But how you choose to live after that is 100% up to you. And doing the work is really taking self accountability first and realizing in doing that, oh my God, I hold the power. I hold the power. And I no
Mm.
longer am a victim. You don't get to have that piece of me. Even though you hurt me
Oh.
back then, it's mine now.
Mm.
And that's what I help women do is they go in, they reclaim their power, they re-landscape themselves from the inside out. Their inner landscape, they get to form it. It's not
Mm.
it's not this thing happened to me and now I'm wounded and hurt and a victim. It's like, okay, you're there. Now we're going to go back in. You're going to address it. You're going to see it. I'm going to witness it with you. And then you're going to reclaim it and take your space back in your own body. That's yours. That is true female empowerment. It's not yelling at men that they're horrible.
Yes.
True female empowerment is reclaiming what's yours.
That I still have chills running through my body. Yes. About reclaiming your power, taking it back. Because I've said this too. Hmm. Yeah.
Well, it's the story the world wants women to hold on to is the victim story, because then we'll always be weak.
Hmm. So you're saying when I choose not to be a victim anymore.
I am in control. I get my control back. I get my life back. I get to be empowered.
Mm.
And I don't want to give that away. And there seems to be women will huddle and victimize together, And what I would love to see, and I think I am seeing, is that women are realizing like this man hating, angry, thing that we do isn't actually helping the world, and it's actually not helping us as individuals. And so what do we do? And therapy, there's talk there's so many wonderful ways to heal now. You
There
know,
really
when
are.
you and I, like 10 years ago, maybe not 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, it was like, don't tell, but I have a therapist. And now it's
True.
like, what are you doing? Who do you go see? And
Mm-hmm.
it's amazing.
It
So,
really, it really is. And also in the victimization thing, I think this is so important to realize that when, because we think that it's easy, and maybe on some level, because it's a learned behavior, it is easy not to take accountability and say that everything happening to me is their fault.
mhm,
because those things spill over into like everyday living as well, which with your
Yeah.
partner, with someone on the road, they cut me off. That's victim mode.
Uh-huh.
Little things, it spills over. But when I can take accountability and say, I am not going to let the person who cut me off make me feel bad, that is me
Mhm.
taking my power back. I
Mhm.
am not going to let someone who did something to me that didn't feel good, that wasn't right. Yes, it can hurt in the moment, but I'm not going to give it any more space than it needs. And
Mhm.
I'm not telling that story because that's giving my power away. It's giving them actually the energy. I'm not going to give them the
Mhm.
satisfaction
Yeah,
of
exactly.
letting them hurt me.
Yeah.
Hell no.
Right.
And when you realize that's a powerful place, because we want to fight back. And especially as women, we often feel powerless because these things are
Mhm.
happening to us. People are all day long, the world is on us. But when
Mhm.
we can say, okay, happen, and I'm still not going to give you the time of day to make me feel bad, then
Mhm.
we're reclaiming our power in all these tiny ways along in the day with
Yes.
these people. So, and I've noticed this in relationships that I'm going to tell you my secrets.
Yeah. This is getting good.
Okay. In relationships, well, I only date men, generally speaking. That when I'm in a relationship with a man and things are going bad, and like how I fight back is I don't allow it to bother me. And sometimes that bothers them the most. I actually
Mhm.
realized that when I was getting divorced. By not feeding into the pattern or the drama and breaking that cycle, it was driving him crazy, and
Mhm.
I was just sitting back and I was like, I'm going to come from love. It was really a practice of me coming from love. But in that moment, I realized, wow, by me not reacting, it actually makes him flare up. And I like that. So I might still have that, like, ooh, okay, I am powerful feeling. But
Well,
it's it is a way for you to, because it's not being passive, but it is. It's a way to
mhm.
not be aggressive. It's maybe it is more of a feminine way of being powerful, which means men can do it too, not just women.
Mhm.
But when we
Mhm.
can step back and be like, no, my power is not in reacting, and if you're
Mhm.
wanting a reaction from me, oof,
Mhm.
that's
Mhm.
it's a nice feeling to have
It is.
for
And
me.
there's like you're either being acted upon by the world or you're an actor in the world. You're either engaged and in control and well, no one's totally in control, but you're
Yeah.
like, making a difference and living your fullest, or you're being acted on by the world, and you get to decide like how you're going to engage with life. And
Yeah,
everybody is a victim at some point, whether you're a man, a woman, whatever race, you know, children,
definitely.
animals. This is part of this reality we have lived. And so,
Yes.
how are we going to move forward
Yes.
collectively, individually?
Yes.
And it's a fine line between being avoidant and passive.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
it's
Yes.
we're getting into nuances, but
Yes.
ultimately it's
And
I think women act out when they feel disempowered, which we have for a long time. I think women are learning, one, going back to not being afraid of your power. That is
which is a
something
big
that
one.
it is a big one. And when we are afraid of our power and we hide from it, what is that? That's like retreating. And it's like, then you're more likely to be victimized. If you stand in your power,
Mm.
like I have no fear that when I'm walking down a street at night, someone's going to jump out and like attack me.
Right.
Now, I live in a fairly nice city, but like energy doesn't lie. Else who is living a victimization story day in and day out is going to attract more opportunities to be a victim. and perpetrators will feel that and proceed accordingly, right? So,
They do.
it's an energy. It,
It
it's
is.
it
It's
is.
a it's a energy of when I feel empowered and I feel good, I'm projecting my energy out and it creates
Mm-hmm.
the shield around me. When I'm a
Mm-hmm.
victim, it's almost like I'm calling it in. My energy is retracted, I'm retracted, there's a void, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
pulling something, the things I don't
Mm-hmm.
want, toward me.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, I realized this and I went on a trip to Morocco and I went with a group. It was for my grad school final project. And the very first day we were there, we were in the capital city and they had this big market. And I went there was a street that goes all the way down to the ocean. Maybe it's a mile long or something. But the street is a market and it is packed with people. At the time, what was this, 2019? I'm a friendly person. I had this persona of always smiling. So I'm walking down the street. Now in Morocco, especially in the capital city, because it is not a very touristy area, there aren't as many Western women not wearing the garb. I was looking in all the coffee shops, there are zero women. There are only men sitting there. There are women kind of shopping, but it is male dominated. And I'm walking, just maybe a few blocks in, smiling, looking at men engaging, and I had men coming at me. I got proposed to. This old man
Wow.
was wanting to give me something to watch TV, like a little TV receptor, like gifts. I was like, firstly, no, and what? So in this interaction, I realized and noticed because my energy is open, and these men who are not used to a
Women's open
woman,
energy.
yes, they flocked into it, and I was like, whoa. Well, anyway, a few hours later, I end up at the beach. We all walked down. We had to be back at the hotel to go to dinner. I walked down with my friend who came on the trip with me. She ended up not meeting up with me and going with someone else, and I was alone. And I had to walk the whole mile back in this market. And in that moment, I realized I have control of my energy and I can either project out what I want to receive. And I don't want any attention from men. I don't want these things because I actually didn't feel safe. It wasn't just about
Mm-hmm.
male gaze and attention and men
Mm-hmm.
following me, but you're in a different country. And
Mm-hmm.
so in that moment, that mile I had to walk back, I was literally projecting out my energy of like, you come close to me and you will die. Come
Mm-hmm.
close to me and you will die. I was not looking at anyone. I was looking close ahead if like I could feel the gaze, but literally there was this bubble around me and no one approached me, not even one person. I could feel my energy repelling them because I was stepping into my power and being like, no, I don't care
Mm-hmm.
who's around me. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's these tiny tweaks that we get to
Mm-hmm.
realize of how I feel,
Mm-hmm.
and that the sex kitten energy of like, oh, look at me, look at me. We don't realize that these programs are running or that,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I have to be happy and nice all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And in our everyday life, we're maybe used to the interactions, but when we come into a new situation, like a new country,
Mm-hmm.
a new culture, it was like so starkly
Yeah.
shown to me how it's affecting me. And I was like, oh, I don't want that. So yeah, we can control those things by how we feel and what we're projecting consciously.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because now, yeah, now I walk down an alley too. I'm never going to get mugged. I have a plan.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, that person is going to be so afraid. I might even get approached.
A powerful woman is terrifying. Like, truly. A powerful woman, a man will cower. Because the energy that comes out of a powerful woman is coming from places that, well, the portal between our legs. Like,
Yeah.
it comes from
And
other worldly places.
yes. Yeah. A weak man will cower.
That's
A
true.
man who doesn't feel powerful himself that wants to take power from another will cower. A
Mhm.
powerful man feels matched and seen.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, there's so much with the energy stuff. Like, it's so exciting women are healing and we're going inward and working all these things out. and then coming to this place of more equilibrium where now we can refine the external energy field and learn how to work with it and how to
Mm,
magnetize what we want. And what does our friend Melissa say? Energy doesn't lie. You
she
can't make
does.
this shit up. It's, yeah, and it's true.
Yes, it is true.
In tuning and healing and working through my stuff and being able to help other people work through their stuff and refine and learning how to work with my energy field and connect with others. And really, we all are doing it all the time anyway, right? So
We
it's just
are.
becoming conscious of it. And once you become conscious of it, it's like you'll never feel powerless again because
Exactly.
it's an armor if you need it to be. It's a hug, it's an energy. Your energy field is the essence of who you are. It's your signature, and your signature, when you clear all of the blockages and you're actually emitting your signature out to the world, your life becomes effortless because you're a beacon and everything's coming in for you. You no longer are fighting for it. You're not swimming upstream. It's like who
Mm.
you're supposed to be with finds you, and you find who you're supposed to be with, and life is a
It's
lot
what you
better.
it's what you were saying in the beginning. When you're living from that place, then the person calls you, and the person isn't working with you because of your certifications, they're working with you because of that energy signature.
Yeah.
Because they feel that vibration, you have something that they want, and it's
Mhm.
vibrational. It might be
Yeah.
informational, it might
Sure.
be skill based,
Mhm.
but ultimately, and this is what I teach in the energy healing courses and training, we are we don't actually heal anyone. What we're doing is the hugest healing that ever happens is when my field is clear and I'm actually healing with my resonance field. Who I am is healing them. Them coming
Mhm.
into my field, they're now attuning to that
Mhm.
resonant frequency, and that's what they're actually wanting. Yes, I can wave my magic wand, I can rub their feet, I can do the
Mhm.
womb working, and that adds to it because like we were talking today, like having your belly rubbed and in a way that is seen and nurtured, that physical is hugely healing. So I'm not
Mhm. Mhm.
taking away from the physical
Right.
skill. And at the same time, Megan, you have to hold that space and witness, and that is your field. That's your signature. You have that signature,
Mhm.
that mama energy of I got you. I've done
Mhm.
this. So my healed frequency can now attune to yours and heal yours. And it creates this
Mhm.
wave of harmony between the two that starts to eliminate any distortions
Yeah.
energetically, because that's how it
Right.
works, really.
Right. And living authentically is doing the inner work so that your frequency and your resonance
Mhm.
is projecting out your true essence. You
Yes.
never longer have, you're not projecting out any longer the victim. You're not projecting out the sex kitten energy. You're not projecting out good girl energy. You're not projecting out all of these layers of like masks that we've
Mm,
been wearing that weren't us. A lot of women don't know who they are.
very, very true.
They actually
Very
think
true.
they are the masks.
It's true.
And yeah, and that's
Mhm.
okay. But when something wakens in them and they realize, like, I feel something, there's something more, I want to know more. It's not the easiest journey to wake up, but it sure is the most interesting. It's the most exciting show you ever watched, the best movie of all time. You get to watch you emerge. I mean, it's self-love. How can you not love yourself when you see who you really are? It's impossible because
Mm,
it's pure energy. It's your true
mm,
essence. And that's what people come to me for is who I am. And with my
definitely.
business, the thing I've wrestled with for years is I don't want to get paid to do this thing. I want to get paid for who I am. I want to contribute to
Yes.
the world because I showed up. I'm here in my essence, my authenticity. I'm doing what I feel I'm here to do. And and I believe it's enough that I can make a living at it and help a lot of people. Period.
Mm,
And that I think is the direction. That's what the world needs, is for all of us to try and like move in that direction. Not try and
mm.
be whatever's
Not,
trending or what mom and dad
yeah,
said you're supposed to be, what the
yeah,
church
not
said.
fitting into these slots of, yes, what I'm supposed to be, how I'm supposed to show up, what
Yeah.
people expect of me, what men expect of me. But instead,
Yeah.
who am I really, and what brings me joy? What is my highest excitement, and how can I follow that?
Yeah.
What is the greatest contribution I'd want to make to humanity? How does that look? How does that feel in my body? Sitting with that.
It feels like you're excited to wake up in the morning. Like if you're not
Ooh.
excited to wake up in the morning, then you're not doing the right thing. That's something's out of alignment. And that can
Hmm.
be a simple gauge. I don't know what it feels like to wake up and be excited to live, but I want to know what that feels like. Like because I think there's no way you can't feel that you're if you're living your authentic self. Now, it doesn't mean you won't have hard times. You're
Right.
still lifing, but
And there's a refinement process because for me, I feel like I've been on this journey a long time. In 11, I started this where I started aligning my external work to this internal process and my gifts
mhm,
and bringing it out in the world. And so talking about that, that will change. For me,
mhm,
especially, it's in my human design that I can't do the same thing over and over again, which means that
mhm,
my work always gets to be evolving, which is a very
mhm,
hard thing practically. What
mm.
worked 2 years ago is not working now. Oh my God, I'm exhausted. I really have to figure this out.
Well,
And so,
especially when you're trying to like make a living at what you're doing, right?
yes,
Because you're like, you can't evolve
exactly.
anymore. We're trying to create this. Stop evolving. But that's not possible.
No, and so even when you are living an authentic life, that is still the gauge because a few months ago, I realized that that question, how can I love life more than anything? Well, it was a layer for me. I realized that underneath everything, I did have this bitterness toward life. Like life is hard.
Mhm,
I'm
mhm,
a very positive person. On the surface, I would tell
mhm,
people this and they're like, really? No, you're lying. But underneath, life felt hard for me. And so I wrote this
mhm,
down, love life more than anything. And it started to actually attune me to refine even deeper. Firstly, to connect to joy and remember that that's who I am. And I'm a joyful person. And that when I'm coming from joy, everything else flows in my life
mhm,
because I was looking at my business so seriously and
mhm,
feeling serious about it. But that isn't my essence.
mhm,
So calibrating the calibration as we start to live more authentically, it becomes more refined, acutely
mhm.
refined, and to give ourselves space that that might happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And for some people listening to this, it's like, if Megan 20 years ago was listening to Megan now, it might feel like, oh my God, that's so much. I want to feel that, but that's a lot. Because it's a journey, it's an unwinding, it's an unraveling of yourself and building yourself back up.
Yes.
But it's, I feel like the people who are beginning the awakening journey now are on an accelerated path. I
Yes.
think the people that were waking up in the phase that I was waking up, it was drudgery for like years, long,
Years.
slow. And now, and maybe it's the psychedelics and whatever, because that's way more accepted now. I don't know what it is, the energy, but
Well, what it is, it's the tipping point. It's that enough people
yeah.
have reached a certain level of consciousness that and done the hard lifting. This is what you've
Mm-hmm.
been talking about. They've done that work. So now it's easier.
Mm-hmm.
People just catch up to that level.
Mm-hmm.
They come right in
Yeah.
over here instead of over here because we've already done it. So for
Yeah.
you, every little inch of work you do adds to the collective. So in 10 years, it's even quicker.
Yeah. That's right. It's so true. I've witnessed that and I feel that. And I think, man, if I could have got pelvic work 20 years ago, holy cow, or energy work from you. What a blessing. And so for those that are listening and it's like,
Yes.
wow, like I want what they're talking about. I know I have
Mm.
lots of layers to work through. I'm not saying it'll be easy, but I think that it will be, if you're willing and ready, it can happen. You can be transformed in months. You're never gonna
Mm.
say, "I'm arrived," because 'cause I'm still working on it, right? But, like or you can see such results so fast now.
What would you say for someone hearing this, coming into the process, is maybe the next step or some steps along the way of what they
I
can
think
do to start unraveling and living authentically?
I think the first step is awareness and saying, I recognize in my situation currently, I'm not as happy as I want to be. Life isn't as flowing as I want it to be. I don't feel as creative as I want to be. I know I have hard things in my past that I probably need to address. It's that first step of acknowledging where you're at.
Mm.
And then for me, I call it to my clients and myself, it's following the breadcrumbs. It's the very first step is acknowledging where you're at, finding a quiet moments as often as possible, and literally just saying, I'm ready for whatever's next in my healing, and then sit and wait and something will come in. And that is where you start living the magic and you start working with the universe is you've opened your awareness. You said you're ready, you open your awareness and you put it out there and then a practitioner will come in or a friend will say something that triggers you and you feel something inside that you're like, I'm supposed to move that direction. And there's your breadcrumb. And once you go to that breadcrumb, it's the same process again. I'm open. This is
Mm.
awesome. I'm ready for more.
And you say yes.
And you
You
say
say
yes.
yes. You say yes and you do the hard thing.
Because
You go to
every
the
time
practitioner.
yeah, because every time you surrender, acknowledge where you're at, tell the universe, God, yourself what you want, when something shows up and you accept, you're building self-trust. You're
Mm.
no longer self-abandoning. You're
You're
no
saying yes to
longer
you.
you're saying yet you're fighting for yourself. And
Mm.
you're no longer the victim because you're choosing you. And that is the path of authenticity. And before you know it, you've grown so much, you're ready for some new job pops in, the perfect partner, or, and it's these breadcrumbs in our awakening journey and our healing that it's those and you don't want to jump ahead 20 years to the future you because it is in the journey, right? That's where the wisdom is and the sacred moments
Hmm. Yes.
and
And
having
yeah.
no you go.
Oh, and I have to just speak to that voice that says, "What? Are you kidding me? I want the 20-year me in 20 years now."
I know. I want to can we just skip this?
It's too hard. It's too
I know.
messy. It's too
I know.
ugly. Yeah, but then we get to surrender into that too. We get to surrender into the voices and
Mhm.
the tiredness, the exhaustion, the messiness, the I don't know,
Mhm.
but I'm gonna do it anyway.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, choosing yourself again and again.
I love that. I
Forever.
love that. Forever and ever and ever. I love me, I love me, I love me.
Yeah. That's the true love story of your
Oh, I
life.
love that. I love that. So the work, most of the work you do is in person. It's physical. Not all of the work you do. We didn't talk about many other things that you do because how you
Mhm.
work with a woman is very holistic
Mhm.
with the nutrition, the body. You take people on
Mhm.
journeys in the desert. There's a lot of things you do. But for someone
Mhm.
who is listening to this, how could they reach you? Is it just here in Salt Lake City, in Utah?
It depends on at what capacity they'd like to work with me.
Support.
If my signature essence is speaking to you, you can. Go to the medicinebasket.com.
Inside joke.
Those
I'm
are those
sorry.
are in yeah, that's an inside joke, and one day
We'll put it on here.
we'll put yeah, in our private videos. So, the Medicine Basket is the name of my business. Megan Micheal, LMT@gmail.com. You can email me. I really am a mentor to women,
Yes.
and I have had a hard time boxing myself in for the world to market because I definitely um I work with each woman individually and I pull from the tools which would be like the body work specific to like pelvic and abdominal stuff, cranial sacral therapy and energy work, and then I do nutrition counseling to help them like really like be fully embodied and reset their nervous system because the nervous system actually has a lot to
Mhm.
do with feeling empowered and resetting and
Mm.
trauma and all of that. And then taking women into nature and helping them to connect back in because it's intrinsic, the connection between women and nature. And your healing will definitely be accelerated if you're
Mm.
in nature.
Yes. How I see and feel your work, it's very holistic. When we say embodiment and coming back into your body and healing your body and coming into alignment, you do it on
Hmm.
literally every single level.
I do. Yeah. I,
Internally, externally, energetically,
yeah.
environmentally, like
Yeah. I'm
it's
in
the full program. That's
it
why it's
is.
you're like, hold it. I'm your basket. I'm your
Yeah,
medicine basket. I'm holding you.
I am. I'm holding you and I'm weaving
Yes.
you, and all of us women are weaving this beautiful collective and
Yeah. We start
healing.
to weave together.
Mhm. Yep. Yeah, it's and I'm excited to work with and you and I work together and
We do.
yeah,
Yes. And
and
co-creating
mhm.
these communities. In fact, we'll talk about it in an
Others.
upcoming episode.
Yeah.
Exciting. Well, thank you so much, Megan. I appreciate you coming on.
Thank
And
you. Thank you so much for having me and just allowing me to show up and let my voice heard and my signature essence felt and all of that. I appreciate you.
thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you.